Welcome to Drawsh Studio. Today we're going to learn about the proportion of the human figure. Let's get started. Proportion means the size of part of something compared to its whole. And while we can compare any part of something to the whole, when we measure the proportion of the human figure, we usually start with the head and relate that to the rest of the body. We use the 8-head model as the basic or ideal set of proportions. And while actual human proportions vary from person to person, memorizing the 8-head model allows us to draw from imagination, or gives us a starting place when drawing from life. Seeing how these proportions relate to the skeletal landmarks will also help us analyze and construct the figure in proportion. In the 8-head model, the top of the head to the chin is our first measurement. The second head down ends at the nipple line. The nipple line is a soft landmark though, and can vary from person to person, so this also relates to about the 5th rib. The third head down ends at the belly button. This is another soft landmark, but we can also see that the third head down has to be below the rib cage, but above the pelvis. This will help us correctly place the rib cage and pelvis. The fourth head down ends at the pubis symphysis. This is our midpoint and an important landmark to pay attention to. The 5th head down lands in the lower thigh. The 6th ends just below the knee. The 7th is about the middle of the lower leg, below the calf muscle. And the bottom of the 8th head is measured at our heel bone or our calcaneus. We have to measure to our heel bone and not the bottom of the foot because the heel bone is more in line with our body, whereas the foot comes forward in space, oftentimes putting it in perspective. The pubis symphysis is the midpoint in the 8-head model of proportion, and from the front, this appears to be the bottom of the pelvis. But the ischium of the pelvis curved down and towards the back, making the pelvis actually lower from behind. And on top of this, the gluteal muscles drop down even lower. So we must account for this by adjusting the midpoint above the gluteal muscles from the back. To help with this, notice that the great trochanters of the femur are roughly in line with the pubis symphysis. So this will help us find the midpoint from the back view. There are other helpful measurements to make our figures in proportion. The elbows will align with the bottom of the rib cage. The wrists will land near the great trochanters. The bottom of the hands will fall just about the mid-thigh, and because the hair has volume, it will extend above the top of the head measurement. But there is also another useful tool to find the relative proportion between the parts of the body. We can also measure the proportion by using the ball of the head, or the head width. This is taking an imaginary circle through the cranium, which is essentially the same as the head width. This proportional unit helps us see how big other parts of the figure are in relation to this. If we take a line from the side of the head and measure that to the outside of the shoulder, it's about 1 head width. The humerus is about 2 head widths. The lower arm, including the first row of knuckles, is about 2 head widths. A clavicle is about 1 head width. The sternum is about 1 head width. And the hand is also about 1 head width. The scapula is about 1 head width tall. The rib cage is about 2 head widths wide. The femur is about 3 head widths. And the lower leg down to the heel is also about 3 head widths. We need to use all of these measurements to understand and draw the complex figure in proportion. These will take some time to memorize, so do lots of practice in your sketchbooks. The more you do, the faster you'll learn it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to go to drawsh.com for more information on these topics and many more. If you want to see more videos like this, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.